Hey, Section 3. I hope everyone is doing well. My guess is that most of you are out doing your weekend intensives. So hopefully you're learning lots of good stuff. I'm sure that you are, and taking it all in and trying to incorporate that information into what you've learned not only this week but in the weeks prior, and then obviously they'll be building on in the weeks to come. Had a really good week this week. I really enjoyed the conversations that I was able to interact with you guys with. I actually miss having just a section to myself or a group to myself because I do really enjoy that. But with 4 TAs, the opportunity isn't quite as much there. And I am still trying to kind of figure out how I fit into this puzzle where I am able to clinically offer up information, not allow the TAs to do their work and not be too overbearing and burden you guys with articles and information. But I do enjoy interacting with you guys, and I did enjoy that this week. Eric will be back next week, so we'll have all four of our TAs with us again, and I'll be taking Alpha and Charlie, and we'll be switching the TAs up. So look for that. I haven't assigned the new TA responsibilities, but we'll just be shifting them over. So getting into the good stuff. So right away, the regional interdependence presentation that Wayner did, you guys all really were able to start to see the body of literature that supports this concept. This isn't just something that, EIM thinks is a good idea. This is something that is slowly evolving. There was another even, and I posted it, Cleland did a lead authorship of just a month or two ago in regards to regional interdependence that was hot off the presses, and this evidence is just building, and you need to kind of stay with it. The 2 joint eval, first 2 visits, make sure that you do that. Make sure that you are providing that thorough evaluation so that you can confidently provide the best treatment possible. The Bialowski article about neurophysiologic response, I think that's a really good thing. I think, Bialowski and the folks down in Florida, University of Florida, they are doing some really good stuff. And obviously Nee and Niels and even Mosley, I love Mosley. They're all talking just about pain and the responses to pain, and they're all intermingled. The neurophysiologic response is so much tied into pain education science and how the whole thing evolves. And even if you haven't learned the protectometer, the new Lorimer Mosley and David Butler book just came out probably a month ago. Get it. It's more patient based. It continues to kind of build on what is really happening to our bodies when we deal with pain, how then that ties into our treatment. The biomechanical model ? I loved listening to people struggle, and that's great. I love it when people are struggling and kind of wrestling with old views and new views. I love to watch that, and it makes us challenge and think. And it's the beauty of this is that we need to not give up what we've learned at this point. We do not want to be a 2015 PT in 2020. Okay, so you need to continue to keep up with the literature because this is an evolving area, and we need to be able to give our patients the most current and best information available. The non-specific response, is it placebo, is it not? I think it's more than a placebo effect, but even if it was, I don't care. I just want them to get better, and I want them to know that physical therapy, if they have problems, can be a great resource and treatment modality to help them get better. Okay. In regards to the Strunk article, again, the whole point of that is just, again, that not only do we want to manipulate the thoracic spine, but slide out onto the ribs. That's going to be a huge deal. Get on that rib angle, manipulate that rib angle. You're going to find a change. There's a 51% reduction in pain after one treatment that they saw. That's big, man. I just had a patient the other day who was dealing with a lot of achy shoulder pain, seen a chiropractor, went to an orthopedic surgeon, had an MRI. Then I just started manipulating his thoracic spine, CT junction manip seated, CT junction manip in supine, and I did some rib manips, and significantly better. Went from an active flexion of 90 degrees and abduction of 110 degrees to full mobility. Significant change. So again, with that Wayner presentation, the 5 studies for the CT treatment for neck pain, 2 studies for CT treatment for shoulder pain, 4 studies for CT treatment of lateral epicondylalgia. First 2 visits screen upper quarter. Within the first 3 to 4 visits, treat primary findings in upper and quarter to determine potential immediate effects on symptom function. Keep that in mind. I love this diagram. This is an evolving model. regional interdependence, biopsychosocial, somatovisceral, musculoskeletal, neurophysiologic, all wrapped up into this one big body of information. And someday we're going to be able to tease it out even more so. And we're going to be able to subgroup patients even more so. But until then, knowing these interactions are so very important. My 2 cents on the biomechanical model. Is it dead? Probably not. But is it becoming less and less important? I do believe so. We are no longer stacking Legos. We are no longer under the impression that if we just understand how we stack ourselves, that's going to give us information that will help us better understand why we're experiencing pain. It was Jamie Everett who talked about being a recovering biomechanist, and I made mention of dealing with a Paris-trained PT who's a PhD prof at St. Kate's University, a PT program here in St. Paul, and I teach the manipulative information there, and he's always challenging me on different things, different aspects of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And man, I just want to say it doesn't matter because we just want to blast that system. We've had people comment about the Control-Alt-Delete. I think that's a great thing to do when describing to the patient. I saw that Anthony was talking about, asked the question of how in-depth do we go? I don't think we have to go greatly in depth. We have to talk about things that are stiff and sore. We have to talk about things that need a stretch. Patients understand that. We can talk about things, how the nervous system gets a little Control-Alt-Delete, a quick reset by us doing this, but that pain can come back if we don't strengthen around those areas. Patients understand that. They don't get that. I do not go into, inhibition patterns. I don't go into dorsal root ganglion or dorsal horn inhibition or lack thereof as a result of this quick thrust, as a result of what happens, at the spinal cortex. We don't need to dig that deep. We simply keep it simple. I always find that this concept of regional interdependence can be extremely powerful, and the test-retest is so big. And as I made mention in Mitch's in his post, the change that we see, if we get change on the first visit, that's a huge indicator for success. And that's what we want to see. We want to see success on that first visit. So patient buy-in, they'll go home and do what they need to do. You're on the right track. That's all test, retest, but we certainly want to see that change. So when we do that retest, we get it. All right, that's it. I'm done. Moving on to week 6. Adhesive capsulitis, proximal humeral fractures. Review the syllabus, know what's going on. We're going to have some more fellow case studies. We just got done reviewing the different ways in which range of motion is done in the upper extremity. Some nice little discussions about that once we finally got our videos loaded. Group projects, please make contact with your group. The subjective information is posted in week 6 under it's in Dropbox. I forget the title. I've looked at it. So just be prepared for that. There's some articles listed, Kelly Boyles and Vermillion. Good articles about frozen shoulder. What do we do with frozen shoulder? What is frozen shoulder? How do we treat it? Is what we treat very effective? And then proximal humeral fractures. Sometimes they can go hand in hand. I happen to have one, went hand in hand, fell. Now she had rotator cuff repair after having the proximal humeral fracture, finding out that she had a tear. Didn't want to rehab. Did the surgery. Now she's got a frozen shoulder, and now we got to work through that. Good times. All right, so that's all I got. Keep up the good discussions. Please get in those weeks. Get in your groups early. Make sure that you get the group project stuff underway. And if you have any questions, I did send out an email regarding, I thought there's been a couple of people who haven't gotten my emails, and it's hard to know if you are, because if you're not getting them, you can't tell me you're not getting them. But it seems to me that everybody's on the same page. So I do appreciate everybody responding to that as well. So enjoy the weekly intensives, and don't forget to comment on that. In week 4, there's a spot where you can comment on what you liked, what you didn't like. Did you find that it was effective for you? We always, at EIM, we always like to know if what we're doing is effective. So please give us that feedback. Take good care, and if there are any problems, you know where to find me.